It is Matt for AVNation.tv. We are here in sunny Orlando, Florida at InfoComm 2019. We are in the Crestron booth with my friend Nick. Nick, how you doing, my friend?
Doing great, yourself?
I'm doing great. Show is moving and moving along.
Yeah, it's tough to carve out space in this busy booth, isn't it?
It really is. So thanks for taking the time and making the space. Nick, we are in front of your MX150 tabletop conferencing system. Yep. This is one of a suite of products that you're working with directly with Microsoft. Let's talk a little bit about how Mercury fits in with Microsoft.
Sure, so this is one of our first entries into the UC area. We've expanded out to the smart soundbar and other devices, but one of the things we're showing here is how we've evolved the product to improve the cabling.
Right.
You know, when you first generation, you had multiple cables that had to get from the table back to the display. One of the things we've done here is added it across a single Cat5. So now it simplifies the installation while providing that great microphone pickup. You know, what we try to do with our multiple form factors is allow you to install it in different ways. The smart soundbar is up against the wall, obviously, underneath the display. This is in the center of the room with a 20-foot pickup range around it. So it really does provide great sound in the space so you can see and be seen.
You don't have to just restrict this to your small huddle room space with the 20-foot pickup.
Exactly. I think it's one of the big misperceptions when we came out. Everybody thought it was a huddle device because of the price point.
Right.
Because the price point's so great, but it really does. And you know, at Crestron, we use it in a lot of 20 and 30-person meeting rooms.
That's fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about what it means to be certified, because you've got these stickers here. I'm sure that not everyone knows or has been following what certified for Microsoft means, because I don't want to say it's new, but it's something that, again, not everyone's talking about.
Sure, and there's a lot of misinformation out of there. You know, Microsoft Teams touches billions of people. I think it's like 1.6 billion people have a Microsoft Teams license. So naturally, there are a lot of hardware manufacturers out there that are excited to try to sell people devices in the arena.
Yes.
The certification program for Microsoft is designed to hold people accountable to the standards with which the equipment performs. Okay. And so by achieving certification, that means as a customer, you know that Microsoft is using an independent lab to ensure you're going to have a great experience. That's the first thing. The second thing is, we talk a lot about the native functionality that we've embedded in that. That certification leads to this native Teams experience. And that means that we've agreed to the handshake between the two companies. Where the software starts and stops and where the hardware starts and stops. And this means that, you know, as they release functions and features for Teams and push updates, you know the hardware will support it. Okay.
So it's not just at the factory, at time of production and manufacture, that it's going to work. It's that every time they do an update or a patch, or anytime you do, that it goes back and it goes right through that rigorous certification process again.
Yep, exactly. And you know, when you're deploying tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of devices, it's really important that you have that agreement so that you don't inadvertently disrupt somebody's experience.
How is it something where the end user, because we know that not everyone understands that. How do you advise integrators to have that conversation just so that their users, their clients are better informed?
Well, Microsoft has a dedicated website where they list all the certified devices, and I just encourage them to appreciate that by deploying a non-certified device, what could happen? Non-certified devices out there. Microsoft releases an update. The device could be bricked while they're waiting for some intermediary software to be written or some interpreter. And that's the real risk here. And we've seen this game being played in the industry for the last couple of years.
Yes.
We saw it specifically on the Skype platform where a number of people were releasing kind of rogue devices that had kind of a hacked together Skype experience. And ultimately, that's why I think Microsoft's pushing back so hard on this program to say, no, we need to protect that end experience. And ultimately, the consumer can't tell where the line from Microsoft and Crestron starts and stops. They just want it to work.
Is this something that it's driven from the manufacturer level? Or is this something that the end users finally got fed up with these products that they're spending money on that are at the service or at the mercy of a simple software update, and all of a sudden they can have one room that doesn't work, 1,500 rooms that don't work, an entire country that can't connect?
Yeah, I think that ultimately it's one of the foundational elements that's come along with this idea of soft codecs. So historically, you bought dedicated hardware to then run a dedicated service, and it really kind of held you hostage to it. Now with this system, one of the things that's really cool is while you're running a Microsoft Teams event, maybe what you're doing is actually transitioning for Skype for Business. So with the simple flip of firmware through XIO Cloud, the endpoint can switch overnight and become a different device. And let's say in 2 years you want to be a Zoom Rooms house. Well, in August we'll support Zoom Rooms across the entire product line. So they'll have that option to kind of evolve over time. all of that, though, is predicated on, from the software manufacturer standpoint, that they need to trust that the hardware is going to be able to support their functionality.
Very much so.
It's a tricky dance as you're working on kind of code development from different buildings, different organizations.
What else is exciting and new in that UC space for Crestron?
Well, you know, we've got a lot of advancements around that smart soundbar. It's unbelievably easy to use. We've identified and addressed a lot of things, even to the fact of how it gets installed. You know, I think I showed you at ISC.
Yes, you did. I almost
Remember
fell out of my shoes.
Yeah, you jumped out of your way. Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me.
Real quick, couple screws, power USB, away you go.
Right.
23-foot pickup range. Competitors, by the way, are 12-foot.
Yeah.
So if you think about the distance to the camera right now, that's about 12 feet. Most rooms are bigger than that.
Yes.
So we're going to almost double that distance and have a great audio pickup. Part of what's cool about the technology with beamforming microwaves is that it actually levels people's voices. So that we're standing right next to the device, and the cameraman's standing back there, we're still going to sound the same to the people on the remote end.
Right.
The other thing that we have a nice partnership with the Huddle folks.
Right.
So that camera has embedded artificial intelligence. It can count people, it can auto crop, so it looks at the faces in the room and always frames the best possible picture to make sure everybody's can be seen.
Yep.
So there's a lot of technology that's embedded in the system.
So when we start talking about that experience, because that is, if you follow this industry at all, that has been the big buzzword the last couple of years.
Sure.
It's not AV over IT, it's not convergence, it's experience.
Yeah.
It has its supporters and its detractors. When we start talking about experience, it's not the way that we as integrators usually think about it. It really needs to be that customer experience of just walking in and everything working, and simple things like, as you said, we sound the same as if our cameraman was talking.
Right.
How do integrators really tell that message without adding too much tech into that conversation?
Yeah, you know, I think that, well, first off, with the Flex product line, for the first time in the history of UC, we have an out-of-the-box solution that can be applied to any space people work in.
Right.
Whether that's our phones on the desktop, whether it's a tabletop solution with a smart soundbar, or our integrator kit, which can be tied into our traditional DM Matrix, DMPSs, you name it, right? And what that does is it allows from the boardroom down to the desktop to have that one touch to join. I walk into the space and I don't have to think about how I make the technology work. The technology is working for me.
Right.
One of the things I always remind our staff and our team is that we're technocrats.
Yeah.
We understand how this stuff works. We're not afraid to pull a wire, plug something in, jiggle something to get it to work. Problem is, that's not who we're trying to solve this for.
Right.
It's the folks that don't understand the technology, that they want to come in and just get their job done.
Yeah.
And so what we're really doing is simplifying that experience and making that easy for them.
Very good. So if people want to find out more information on the new MX150, being certified with Microsoft, as well as all the other products in the UC platform, including that wonderful Beam mic, where can people find that?
Yeah, so if you're looking for a native Teams experience, we've actually just released a dedicated Microsoft site.
Okay.
It's crestron.com/teams.
Okay.
And if you just want to know generally about the product line, crestron.com/flex. Plenty of information out there. And as always, we're happy to come on site and help anybody out solve the problems.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Nick. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
For more footage from the show floor and to learn more about AVNation, please visit avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv.